Welcome back to the Forge of Champions. We just had our Diabolus versus Wind and Rain series where Diabolus were able to take a 2-0 in clean fashion. The first of the quarterfinals so far. One that many people potentially weren't expecting. However, they did shore up their weaknesses and kind of gave new insurances that allowed them to kind of play the same style that they've always been good at, but
I would definitely
do it a little bit better.
There was a lot of the same, and then the differences I would note were probably in the mid lane and then the draft.
Yep.
So aside from that, I think we'll see if they can adapt anything further going into the semi-finals. But now we're still in the quarterfinals.
We are still in the quarterfinals, yep. And like you mentioned, they do have time with the week off to start adapting. But let's stay in the present because another great matchup underway. Misfits Academy versus M&M Gaming. It's the 3rd seed from the circuit points to the 6th seed in M&M. Misfits Academy have, I mean, they've come 3rd, but I feel like their overall season has been disappointing up until they made that change in the mid lane.
Yeah, I think they were seemed a bit lost for direction, like the kind of issues we've seen Diabolus have in previous tournaments. It seemed once you got into the mid game, they didn't really know what to do.
Yep.
One of the big weaknesses with the last Misfits after Leader joined them was that they seemed to be losing the early game. They started to improve on that, and now swapping Special back in, they should be looking potentially to improve further.
So let's talk about that because Misfits started with their roster of Jakari, Afflict, Kenzuki. They did decide to substitute, change the roster, Kenzuki out, Leader in. And so they used their one roster change for that, and instantly, huge difference. They won the 4th qualifying tournament. Unfortunately, though, due to the way that the European Regional League tournaments work, because Leader had already played in a European Regional League, he was not eligible for the quarterfinals. Now, this is a bit of a communication error, right? Bremers basically came on and said, this isn't the organization's fault or the players' fault. We failed to update the teams on how this would work, especially considering Forge of Champions is new, and it also is an open divisional league, so these more stricter player checks would come in during the quarterfinal stage. But they were given the opportunity to finalize a new roster, and they decided to bring Special back from the Misfits main team onto the Academy team to replace Leader. But they're keeping Leader on the team because as soon as EU Masters is over, as soon as Forge of Champions is over, that's the player that they want to work with to build up.
So Special, being their old mid laner that they actually played in EU Masters with last time around, was very successful with them in the past, but you've got to look at what he's been up to. And he's been in the gaming house training with the Misfits team. He's not played on a competitive team since, so the fact that he hasn't played a game competitively with them makes him eligible for this, for one. But it also means it's hard to scout him, and you can't say he has not been practicing, he's just not been playing, or because he is in that gaming house with Senkux, with Hansama, with the whole team. And subbing him back in now when he's had all this extra training, when we know he was an effective shot caller, and we already mentioned the Misfits Academy have stepped up without him as individual players.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing. When Leader came in, especially towards the end of the last qualifying tournament, it wasn't just Leader carrying them. I mean, I have to shout out, Leader did partly
Leader's a
do
monster.
That for sure.
I mean, there's an entire replay before the game showing him dying just because of how well he played before he died.
Yes, because by game 4, you even had Chrisberg and Prosper starting to play better in the lane. You had people moving around the map a lot better, and one of the big movements from Misfits, one of the big changes was the fact that their movements around the map just improved hugely. It was once they had a lead, they're willing to go for these aggressive Barons. Sometimes it wasn't the right call, but the fact they were willing to make more aggressive calls was something that we hadn't seen from them before and is an improvement.
So for Misfits Academy, they have the temporary step in the mid lane of Special. They also have Coach Zen back from the main Misfits roster. You know, he was with the Academy team during their 9-1 Premiership season where they just dominated the UK scene. Now he's back with the Academy team. Special is back with the Academy team. This is the roster that dominated the UK in the past, and I think many people are really considering this an upgrade over Leader, even just due to the fact that Special has such good communication ability, has such good lane matchups as well, and is just so talented in that mid lane role.
All due respect to Leader, but basically in an LCS house, you're given the opportunity to be in a hyperbolic time chamber.
Yep.
And so Special can come back having learned a lot from the players around him, having practiced a lot, but is the synergy issue with the team going to be the downside to it? And the fact that Leader came in having very little practice with the team and was able to step up so massively makes me think that it's not going to be a massive issue, and Special can just slot in a bit of a plug and play.
And what I do like about Special as well is you'll probably see a more standard draft come out for them. I was really enjoying Leader's champ pool, and I think
Champion Ocean.
Yeah, it was destroying people on assassins and things like that. We'll probably see the draft go back to being slightly more standard, unless Special's just been practicing at LCS caliber all these assassins. That would be fun.
We've talked a lot about Misfits Academy. We've not really talked much about Eminem. And obviously, we could talk about how in Forge of Champions 1 they got the upset onto XL, but since then, not really been a really big threat in the tournament.
I mean, since then, they've lost to XL 0-2 in the quarterfinals. They also have that 1-2 loss in qualifying tournament 3 to Enclave.
Yeah.
Enclave went on to win that as well. So they've definitely had tough composition. M&M Gaming just haven't had the chance to shine, and now they're up against Misfits Academy, who potentially even stronger than their qualifying 4 performance. It's a very rough entry into the playoffs.
Yeah, but I mean, that is the way the tournament works. If you can't consistently face up against some of the top teams, you will get knocked down in the seeding. That's why they end up facing off against Misfits here, and I think that's why they're coming in as the heavy underdogs.
Yep.
We've talked a little bit about how Igloo he's generally playing tanks. He's not really been allowed to play those carry champions, and he's up against Shikari here, who you don't really want to be putting him in a carry versus carry matchup against Shikari with how well he's been playing. And again, Shikari on tanks, still a very effective player, so in those matchups he should be getting advantages as well.
I will argue that slightly, because they have red side, so they will be able to get Igloo the counter matchup. He could lean towards some of the picks he's had in his pocket, like the Jarvan previously. Would love to see
Just
something like that, and we've definitely seen the red side counter pick do that a lot. It's more likely that Poppy either gets banned away in ban phase 2 or Shikari picks it up as the safe pick.
Yeah, it should be a very safe pick, especially if you can pick it before that second ban phase and then ban out, for example, the Darius and those picks that Poppy does struggle with a bit.
Yeah.
And Shikari, obviously very comfortable on the pick. It's one of his top picks. He'll be happy to do that.
And I'm glad to see that Akali ban in there. Definitely would have been the first.
Yeah, not
lot,
at all in the last series, though.
Does hand away. I was going to say it's either the Taliyah or the Gragas. Likely the Taliyah with a lot of these top teams. We've seen Afflict use this heavily.
Yeah, no, Taliyah is the most obvious choice when the Aatrox has been taken off the board. Interestingly enough, that Misfits ban that away, but again, it's those top lane picks that they want to take away from Igloo, basically saying, nah, you're not going to get to carry against Shikari here.
And I actually, this is something you brought up previous days, the Olaf banned away as well. One of the easiest Taliyah counters from the jungle.
Yeah, we can just run her down.
Yeah.
So one of the things with Taliyah is she's basically a lot less of a feast or famine version of Nidalee, where she has lower highs but higher lows. So she's a much more consistent jungler that's based around pathing and punishing the enemy jungler where they are on the map, but she can still be very aggressive and she still has a consistent damage threat.
Hades, known for his Nidalee play, a draft where it's left open, but insta-locks and Kindred lock in. So a little bit interesting that that's the priority that M&M put out, but they get that Varus as well. So far, it's 2 strong picks. We'll have to see, though, if the Kindred can actually do anything against this Taliyah.
Yeah, I mean, Kindred doesn't have a great matchup into Taliyah. It's fine. It's not awful, but certainly as the game goes on, Taliyah just has a much easier time. There's a reason Taliyah's the highest priority jungler in most cases.
Yep.
I want to look at the Kindred and see, like, Kindred, what she does is she dives into the front line, she goes low, and she buys time for the rest of the team to capitalize, the rest of the team to do damage, and her low health bar doesn't mean anything. People focus too much on her, below cooldowns on her, and she's just got the ability to escape. So I need something that can follow up on the fact that Kindred is buying that time. Even if it's something as simple as an Ornn or a Vladimir that just, at the end of the ultimate, has a lot of CC or a lot of damage that you can lay down. The ability to combo off of that ultimate, because if you leave Kindred alone on that front line without much assistance, she gets caught out.
They actually pick up the Poppy themselves.
That's
the one we were expecting Shikari to want to pick up as the counter. Interesting, though. It does leave Shikari the option to counter pick top, but maybe they have some kind of counter pick mid planned here?
Vral, I mean, came into the team to replace Shockwave, who had some good week 1 performances, but since then kind of wasn't able to...
He was given Orianna.
Yeah.
Basically.
I mean, yeah, basically.
No, I wonder if his name means anything.
It definitely did.
So, Vro, is that like...
There we see the Darius ban,
what's that?
Gnar ban to follow.
Yeah.
Most likely.
Vral, he's a Cyan mid. It's actually short for Vroom. He just
so he only plays Piltover Customs Blitzcrank mid with 5 Rod of Ages.
Yes, obviously. That's it.
That's so oddly specific that I'm just gonna leave it drop.
Yeah, I have PTSD.
Oh, alrighty. Following that, you have to expect the Narban here. It's a great matchup into the Poppy if they want to pick that up for Shikari. Shikari's also very comfortable on it. Could also see Shikari move towards the Gangplank. That is something we've seen picked into Poppy as well.
So banning out the supports on the other side for Misfits, though. Banning away the Shen, trying to target out the potential of an aggressive bot lane that Varus wants to punish using the fact that he has the early lane advantage over Kai'Sa. He has the advantage in the early levels to punish her out with. If you get an aggressive all-in, you can perhaps get Varus an early lead. Jokerism can take over. And we've talked about him being this old gun for the scene. He's been around for the longest time, and he's trying to be that gatekeeper for Chrisberg.
And I mean, I'm not sure that's possible, but he is playing Varus, which is historically a fantastic pick for him. Definitely thrives more on these kind of AD carries, and now that they're strong in the meta again, it does kind of help out. Yep, Shogun's going to pick up this Rakan as well. Shogun criticized at the beginning of the season for not being enough of a voice for Eminem, but when you pick up a support pick like the Rakan, now you can be that engager, you can be that almost frontline shot caller to try and find those picks.
There's no Alistair there, which would have been a much superior pick in my opinion, not only to assist Kindred by being a frontline, giving more of a frontline, but it still does effectively the same thing where you get the big CC at the end of that Kindred ultimate.
Yeah, I mean, it does help that when you do see that Kindred ultimate, you dive on into it, and you can't do that against Erakan, and you can't escape against the Poppy, and there's the Chain of Corruptions as well. So there is plenty of AoE spread available, but Misfits Academy do have the ability to kind of maneuver their way around it. It is going to be special picking up that LeBlanc. It looks like Shikari will pick up that Na, which we've seen very classically into Poppy, and now you are left with your mid lane counter pick for Vrao.
Yeah.
And where do you go with this?
Like you said, there were 3 bans available, and it had to be the Na, the Darius, and of course the Gangplank, and whichever one you leave up, they pick. So you pretty much could have left all 3 up, and it would have been the same situation.
On the other side, I expect something like the Lulu or Galio, I was going to say, because that's what we've seen
the counter picks
to them.
Yeah, the counter picks to LeBlanc, where they just got a lot of safety in lane, or they can deny her all in.
I mean, again, it then puts the pressure back onto Jokerism to step up. One of the old dogs in the AD carry scene. He has to be the one finding the kills, unless Hades gets ahead.
Hades they do have a double carry group here with the Kindred, but
so the thing is, with losing lane in top and arguably mid as well, because LeBlanc should have some pressure early on, Talia has the full advantage to take control of Hades' jungle. And if Hades falls behind early, Kindred doesn't get those marks early. Kindred really struggles to have a damage output.
I mean, I will note that Lulu has a lot of good wave clear, so it could be played around that way. It'll be closer in the mid lane, but certainly if Talia wants to play towards top side, it should be given free reign.
Yeah, it's especially with the fact that we saw even in the last series that the LeBlanc did have the advantage over the Lulu in terms of the push, and that allowed LeBlanc to make plays. It allowed LeBlanc to take over the river, and that's why they had the early dragon control, Wind and Rain. And so with Afflict being the jungler here, can he take advantage of that early mid lane control? Can he take advantage over that early river control to deny Kindred those marks, crucially, and also deny Kindred a lot of her damage output by getting Na and LeBlanc ahead?
At this point, Misfits Academy have some nice winning matchups that they can then use to take over the mid game and force Eminem to play around them rather than Eminem being able to... I feel like with this composition, they kind of have to be the proactive engagers. Am I wrong?
I mean, I think it's fine. They have a lot of counter engage as well. If they're getting engaged on, they could turn around with the likes of Lulu or Khan quite quickly, even Poppy, but at the same time, waiting for someone else to engage should never be your point of call.
You just wait for the 45-minute Ardent Sensor Lulu on top of the Varus again, though. That's genuinely an option with this composition, especially building Ardent Sensor Lulu when you've got a Kindred as well as another target for it.
But something I want to point out was that Misfits have been playing better in terms of aggression. So I would hope to see that they'd punish something like that if you were just trying to stall out
You definitely hope so, with how well they played in the previous tournament as well.
It is kind of a shout back to the Enclave versus Barrage series, where Barrage for so long in game 1 were ahead and threatening, but then Enclave just get Bendy online with a Varus and he gets a pentakill.
Yeah.
Yay.
You kind of like hoping for Eminem that you can kind of do the same thing with this Lulu Varus hyper carry.
I think that's looking too far ahead. I don't think they're out of options earlier on.
Okay.
I don't think you have to wait that long.
No,
you do have good engage.
It's insurance, is all I'm saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You're definitely not game planning to go against Misfits Academy and play 45-minute game.
Yeah.
No one does that, and no one likes that, so no one wants it.
I mean, have you watched Jin Air Green Wings ever play?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they shoot past 40 by a wide margin. But
Yeah, it's more like past 70 with them, yeah.
But focusing more on the local scenes as opposed to over in Asia, Misfits, I think, should be a little stronger in terms of their aggression they've got out. They've got the strong jungle matchup to facilitate that.
Yep.
They've got even down bot lane where you have Varus Rakan, Kai'Sa Braum can still respond to that quite well. There's nowhere where Eminem should be able to guarantee themselves priority.
Definitely, I think the bot lane is the strongest matchup for Eminem, utilizing the Varus' early laning, as we said, where he's got that range advantage over Kai'Sa. He can use the Q effectively to help clear the waves. Of course, the bonus on hit damage, making that much easier in the early game when that's actually very relevant. It's definitely a lane that you can get good advantages in, especially if we see Kindred able to get focused down there. But if that lane does fall behind, suddenly you've got 3 losing lanes for Eminem, and then that's really where Kindred gets fully exposed, and it allows Talia full reign to do exactly what a jungler does on Nidalee, just be an aggressive, in-your-face jungler that wants to get those solo kills in the enemy jungle.
And a really rough historical fact for Eminem is that so far Jokerism and Shogun have looked like the weak link for the team. When you do put Varus in a position where he is your #1 damage threat, not really got that mid lane to...
I definitely think that while they've looked weaker than potentially some other bot lanes, it's not that they've lost lane, it's that when they get this lead, they're not the same kind of what we've seen from Chrisberg and Prosper, or even M-Test in that game. You just see this massive damage threat that has to be dealt with. Jokerism and Shogun have played more passively in the past, but with this Varus Rakan, I would be hoping they're looking to play more aggressive. I think that's the idea they're bringing out here, and if they can execute on that, could pull off an upset.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Would be pretty phenomenal considering Misfits' recent strive to success. Of course, this Academy team have seen what success means for their futures in League of Legends, with Special and Coach Zen already having their time at the Misfits main house, and potentially, you know, back there after the EU Masters if they are able to make it that far, or even just the Forge of Champions. You know, we do have to get there for Misfits Academy, but it does show that hard work and success here in the UK and Irish League does result in success.
Yeah, you can't make the same mistakes Wind and Rain did, where you look too far beyond your opponents directly in front of you. You don't prepare enough. You don't respect what they can do enough. And we saw what Diabolus were able to do just by using the usual style. And although there was better drafts than usual, I still felt like the amount of work that Flaxish did was not respected enough, even when they knew that's exactly what would happen coming into the series. So if Misfits make the same mistakes and drop a game to Eminem, that's where we really start thinking, are these teams just disrespecting the teams below them, or is the league just that close at the minute?
Yeah, I mean, yesterday we did see those 2-1s between Enclave and Barrage, between XL and, of course, the Hyperion roster. I do think for the latter, it is a case of Hyperion are closer to the high-level play than their position does result, and for Enclave, it's just a case of you are panicking as a team because you don't have your
emergency
secondary voice in keeping you calm. So I'm not sure that those results are as conclusive, at least in one of them, that the bottom of these teams are performing to that level. Eminem, this is about as rough of a matchup as you can get in your quarterfinals, considering that Misfits have just got better and better over time. And now they have to show us that they can step up to the challenge, that they can play to their win conditions, keep calm under pressure, and pull off the upset.
Yeah, and I think that's what I'm looking forward to seeing here. I mean, even if it ends up going Misfits' way, I'd like to see what Misfits can bring out, because they should be looking for as clean a game as possible. They're bringing back the people, the person they won the Premiership with. It's the full roster that they went 9-1 with. This should be a very quick game, and you can see how well they do once they have that communication in the mid lane. When they had leader, they had that communication. Special should be much the same.
Yeah, no, if not better. potentially as well, especially considering that you don't have to work on synergy because you've had
the communication.
You've had so much of that already. Yeah, it should just be a perfect juggle piece slot in for the side of the Misfits Academy. We're on to the Rift here, guys. It's the final quarterfinal of the Forge of Champions League. Hashtag Forge Knockout if you want to get involved in the discussion here. Misfits Academy looking to push their way to the semi-finals against M&M Gaming. We'll have to see if the upset is possible for those Marshmallows.
So we saw Rift in almost this exact matchup in the top lane yesterday, and what he was able to do is, even without getting any solo kills in the side lane, he was able to get a lot of harass onto the Poppy and pin her down under tower. Then they utilize this split push very effectively to make plays around the map, to deny vision, to give him the vision he needs in the side lane, and he denied a lot of resources from the enemy jungler. Against the Kindred, that's not only that much more effective, but you also get to see if Shikari can keep up with the level of Rift.
I love this. Prosphere tweeted out earlier about this this Mafia Bronze skin, saying this is the most odd flex that he has in the League of Legends scene. Just this this new skin.
I mean, the skin looks amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's one of the chromas where he's literally just wearing a tank top, and you can see his chest hair sticking out and everything.
That's what you want.
That's the one you want, yeah. I'm sold.
M&M now heading into the lanes, and they're in a tough position. You know, you do have that counter pick, I suppose, in the mid lane. We will get the customary UK pause.
This is where somebody's gone, wait, he has a chroma with his tank top and his chest hair showing. They pause the game to go check quickly.
I mean, I would.
Pause the game.
Yeah, I would.
Actually, remake. I'm gonna go buy it.
Yeah. He realizes he's using the wrong chroma. He needs to jump out of game to go fix that.
It's an important aspect of your gameplay.
But then again, is it too distracting when you're in game and you just want to keep it fully zoomed at all times?
What, for Prosphere or
were you playing? Is it more distracting for you or your opponents where you just stay fully zoomed on top of the ROM the entire game?
Tarek was like that when the rework came through.
Yeah.
I mean, Tarek's
still like that. I mean, just try not to play Armor of the Fifth Age is basically what you have to tell people.
Armor of the Fifth Age is amazing though.
Yeah.
Trying to play Tarek without that is pointless.
Yeah. I mean, it's the balance where your mechanics are worse if you don't play it, but you're fully zoomed. You got to play lock screen fully zoomed the entire game.
I still think people who play locked screen just impress me. I don't understand how you can play that
I do it when I really don't want to try. Like if I'm just playing normals with friends. So like
sure.
So what you do is I do it like when I'm playing Talia. You just aim using the mini map with your ultimate.
sorry. I should clarify. People who play well with locked screen confuse me.
Right. Well, so me going 0-10 in a normal game doesn't count. Okay, I get you.
Past that one.
I get you. No, it's not too bad if you have enough mini-map awareness, but you basically have to play using only the mini-map the entire time.
I like that you're like
it's rough,
hard committing to the fact that it's not too bad.
It's pretty awful. It's pretty awful. You lose so much map awareness, but you just got to stay staring at the mini-map the entire time.
I hear minions being slain. Does that mean the game is ready to go? It does. Let's jump back on in. The pause has been completed. Thank you for sticking through whilst we discuss the issues with the locked screen. The fine details of pressing Y.
Yeah. Instead, now we see, I mean, fairly standard across the board lanes back and forth, but it's the junglers you want to watch here, because Kindred's actually going for what could well be a full clear, and on the other side, Talia's already looking to start pressuring towards that top side. We'll get the scuttle. Interestingly, we don't actually see whether Kindred got a mark at the start of the game, but could have gotten that towards the bot side, especially with the marks being down. I would assume that's what's happening.
You would assume it's from the scuttle.
Yeah, the scuttle taking bot side.
Yeah. So that is where you would expect that to have come from, and it is a nice little start. Oh, look at this. It's a flit coming straight into the mid lane. A very low Vrao, very low Lulu. Kindred's on the backside, and it is going to be Vrao walking the wrong way. Bot lane from M&M do move up, though, to make sure that they're able to find stuff. Hades, is going to be able to land some damage here. A flit comes in as well. Chain's going to connect. Can't escape. Oh, just about walks away.
That would have been close. That would have been the full Talia combo you'd have to eat after that point, so could have been very dangerous for them there around the mid lane. M&M, get away. It's actually the Ignite that was blown by Vrao in that earlier trade. So
special.
Still fine for special, yeah.
Yep, absolutely. And that gives the kill priority back over to special, exactly what you want, as that LeBlanc even in the slightly counter matchup.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of neutralizes you as such. Now, Speaking of neutralize, they're going for Jokerism.
Yeah, that's the engage coming through. That's going to be M&M in trouble. Jokerism cannot escape. And first blood goes to Chrisberg.
Yeah, and we were talking about how Chrisberg and Prosper had started to step up in the lanes, and you're seeing that there. They're able to so quickly turn around in time for Afflict to help them out.
Lots of summoners used there by Misfits to secure that. Shogun still has his, so he should be safe under this tower.
Yeah, I mean, he just got hit with the combo. It doesn't do too much damage to him quite yet, but let's have another look at it. You can see here that Chrisberg and Prosper are waiting for the go button.
Oh,
Prosper
no.
sees it, W's into the front minion there, and I like how quickly they're responding to each other. The flashes forward to make sure the concussive blows come through, the flashes forward from Afflict as well to make sure you get the combo.
It's worth talking about the fact that Misfits executed there, but there was a red ward in that tri-bush. They knew that Afflict, they could see that Afflict was coming, and they reacted to it about 2 seconds after he was revealed. That's when they started walking, didn't respect the movement speed that Talia has to get into the ganks. And
I mean, I don't even think it was the movement speed. In fairness, the flash was forced. I think it was the fact Prosper played it so aggressively, quickly moved forward and slowed everyone.
yeah,
It was well played from both from Misfits there. I don't think it was as badly played as potentially you're saying M&M.
I think
might have
M&M
pulled out.
potentially had a second and a half to react quicker to walking away there. And that could just be the difference between blowing your flash defensively and giving up first blood. Either way, it is that first blood. It has happened. Speaking of happened, another Infernal Drake has come forward for the first Drake of the game, and M&M are moving very aggressively to try and find Prosper. No flash available for this Brum, trying to escape onto
He'll go
special,
down.
but doesn't matter. Kill does go through to M&M, and it is, of course, this Lulu who picks it up.
Speaking of happened was one of my favorite transitions you've ever done. But continuing forward, it's actually Rao is getting chunked out very low. Hades
Very
is
low.
nearby though.
Hades trying to turn this around. Flash forced. Oh, he goes forward. Can he get the auto attack? Red buff ticking, burning.
Will be able to
Hades,
get
one
it.
auto attack. It hits,
Certainly
he gets
does.
away. No! The auto attack not close enough.
It was the vision was actually denied as the LeBlanc turned the corner when the Q went off. That is rough for Hades, who should have had a free kill there.
Fog of War. Feels bad, man.
Special's still around though. Rao has flash. This is a dangerous place for a LeBlanc to stay.
See, that's where the high tier ability we're talking about. Igloo is in trouble. Level 6 comes through, and that is a dead Poppy.
Afflict's been all over the map.
Yep.
That is a gank in literally every lane.
Yep.
A kill in both side lanes and a lot forced towards the mid. And now it's Chrisberg has to deal with Shogun and Jokers.
Yeah.
Prosper's
Flash.
nearby though.
Oh, the engage
Well
comes
played.
from Shogun. Chrisberg steps it. Here comes Prosper. Is low, but cannot secure a kill, of course, because of that Brum shield.
That movement from Chrisberg to dodge the Rakan W. Nice.
One word. One word only. Misfits. Showing some great aggression through their jungle here. Afflict, like you mentioned, a gank in each lane. Blowing summoners left, right, and center from M&M.
Yeah, and getting kills on the side lanes as well. Really nice for him. You already have the Gnar ahead as expected. One of the strange things about forcing the counterpick towards the mid lane, especially considering that counterpick doesn't come online until a little bit later. But we'll see if M&M can start using it effectively. They want that a little later on, as we talked about with the Lulu. You want to be able to get team fights off with that. However, with Misfits finding some leads in the side lanes, perhaps they never have to commit to that team fight.
Right now, Jokerism very happy to set up this freeze, now hard pushing it to try and crash it into the tower. Can they hit level 6 off it is the question, get that ult? Yeah, they do. Not quite in range, though, to force the fight onto Chrisberg, of course, and they don't have vision of Afflict either, so it would be risky regardless.
See, the combos are coming down. This is, as you said, the freeze is trying to be stopped here from Misfits. We're having a great time. They've hit level 6 on Chrisberg. If they want to make a big play, though, they'd rather 6 on Prosper as well, though.
Look at the top side as well. We do see the aggressive invades coming through from Hades, wanting to get on into that jungle, get that mark, but great movement from Misfits, with Special moving down the little bunk as well as Shikari denies.
A lot of what could have happened there, agreed. I think, looking now, I'm still looking at the jungle path, and you have Talia potentially angling towards this bot side. Could come into the bot lane as well. Has the wall available. And is now
Wildproof
skirting
is
the wall.
there.
Like, never mind, it's Varel potentially going down. Here's the wall expected.
Yep, Jokerism, well, he is dead. Alright, so that is just what we expected. Frau holding on to that wild growth, staying in lane. You have to be scared, though. Afflict with that kill in the bot side can move straight over towards that Infernal Drake. Started on up, and Misfits are starting to snowball their advantages.
Yes, I think Misfits are finding advantages here and there. They're, you know, not really being punished on the other side of the map very heavily, especially with Rift Herald not even up. Kind of hard to do cross-map plays. Should maybe have been looking towards the top side, and you can see Hades has decided to go for an invade off that. But with no camps left up for him, might be left trying to look for Shikari, and I don't think that's a play that necessarily goes well for them.
Yeah, I mean, he was spotted out by a ward on that blue buff. Shikari now is going aggressive just to lay down the damage onto Igloo to make sure no tower dives can happen. Once more, a ward will spot out the backport here from Hades, so he will go home. Shikari, in fact, stops the backport and says, "Not denying your rotation, slowing everything down."
And on the other side, it's wins all around for Misfits. They're very happy with how that played around the top side. Nothing was gained by Hades for going that deep. In fact, didn't even get the deep vision you might expect from such an invade. Still relatively shallow into the enemy jungle. And on the other side, you have Misfits having won the fight down there. Now with Stormrazor finished on Kai'Sa, starting to spike relatively early.
Misfits just looking so calculated so far in all of their map rotations. You have to credit the fact that Coach Zen is back with the roster, making sure that they, you know, have that analysis necessary outside of the game.
Yeah, and certainly Afflict as well, roaming around the map, has been the big catalyst for that. So whether it's between the two of them, the coach and the jungler, this early game seems very controlled.
And Afflict was the jungle, I suppose, threat when he came onto Misfits that was kind of had a question mark over him. Huge solo queue prowess, took a little while to warm up to competitive. Then, of course, last season in the Premiership, we saw Eminem have such a dominant performance, and now we're kind of seeing it again with Afflict. He is making those jungle rotations, putting the enemy behind, making sure that his good matchups stay good and his slightly worse ones, well, they stay ahead. And look at this, again, in the mid lane, it's Varao, who's meant to be having a safe lane on that Lulu, constantly being threatened.
Yeah, and it's the Flash Force this time. Varao with a lot of safety, so it's hard to necessarily pull the assassination off, but it also removes some of the playmaking potential Eminem might have had around that mid lane against Misfits.
Hades just lurking, almost baiting in his mid laner here to try and find an advantage, but Misfits weren't all about it. They hadn't seen that Kindred for a little while. Very happy to play around the top side where Poppy is in trouble. Here comes the gank as well. They've got that Talia wall to make sure Igloo has no chance of escaping. Chain locks up Shikari. Tanking should be as simple as 1, 2, 3, and it is. Misfits find another kill and 100% kill participation, and 3 of the kills for Afflict.
Yeah, now it's Hades trying to make the cross-map play. We talked about this earlier, how they've been struggling to find them, and now with Kai'Sa, with Stormrazor finished against an unfinished Guinsoo's, they could potentially hold this 2v3.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. They may not have to, but they are certainly in a position where they can. And whilst they're doing so,
maybe not 2v4 though.
2v4.
You got the Lulu starting to run down now.
Specials following straight behind. Misfits are going to have to survive for just half a second. Here comes the engage coming through, and it's already Shogun almost dead. Jokerism picks up Crispberg. Here comes Shikari, though, and look at Special. He's still roaming around, looking to see if he can't find the huge damage onto Jokerism. Heal comes through. They're going to focus Vrao down.
Shame.
Not quite the person you want, but Shikari! 1, 2, 3 against the wall. Kindred's ult keeps him alive for now. Very, very close to losing their lives there. Special flashes forward. Shogun escapes. Special's burning with the ignite.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, Shogun with the outplay on the Rakan.
Yeah, go too far forward there. Thought after the Kindred ult you'd get the quick damage with the LeBlanc, but not quite enough. Tries to go in for a kill at the end and can't quite find it. That whole set of plays, very good for Eminem, but not necessarily the wrong call for Misfits, just a lack of execution there.
Afflict under the tower, takes a bit of a chunk from Igloo, who's pushed it on in. And like you mentioned, yeah, for Eminem, they ultimately come out of that ahead with a kill onto Jokerism as well.
Yeah, and I think that was a bit of a strange passive play. What you have to credit Eminem with, though, is they were quicker on the rotation. They were the one making the proactive play there. They got 4 people down first, and that allowed them to burst Crispberg, so that play went in their favor to start.
Now we'll have to see where this game does go. Moving forward, it is going to be that Guinsoo's Rageblade first for Jokerism on this Varus here.
Quick combos coming in. And yeah, it is the Guinsoo's now finished onto Varus. A lot of consistent damage coming down, even enough to start threatening Prosphere, even though he's relatively tanky on the Braum. But let's have a quick look at the replay of that whole bot lane skirmish. You see, Chrisberg just gets instantly burst out, and that's the big winning point for them here. Now is when Misfits start turning it around, and this is good moves from Special and Shikari. They start moving up like this. You would hope that they can get a pick off, and they almost do, right? Special looks for the combo. If that chain had landed, that's Vrao dead 100%. Shikari then gets a really nice combo. Really good Kindred ult as soon as the CC ends, though. You see, actually timed perfectly to save.
Impressive.
And then they attempt to combo the boulder and the jump, the distortion.
But the heal comes through from the land respite.
Just too high, and then they try to flash forward onto Vrao, and Shogun body blocks it.
Impressive.
And gets the ignite off.
Really nice stuff from Misfits. Sorry, MMM. But Misfits, wow, they...
They do not take any breaks. And
no, they don't.
Continue to push forward. They get themselves a kill. They get themselves the tower. They get Rift Herald pushing up, and they're likely to get top tower too. This should be another dragon secure for them as well.
Oh
Potentially
my
a kill.
god,
Shogun.
Afflict. He is unstoppable right now. Shikari's looking for that top lane tower. Shogun's looking for safety under this tower.
Yeah,
Jokerism is dead. This is rough stuff for Eminem. That's going to be Jokerism dead. That's going to be Shogun coming out of that golden stopwatch and losing his life as well. And now Shikari is looking for the cross-map play onto Igloo as well. Against
Igloo's
the wall, this may be rough. Let's see how this one does unfold. Maybe just Igloo running away now that Na's gone mini and can play the range game.
Yeah, you have the fleet footwork as well to heal back up. Will just secure the tower. Doesn't want to go for the aggressive play just in case it doesn't go his way. But this is going to be their second Inferno. Let's have a quick look at what we missed in the meantime, though. This is when they started the Herald in the mid lane. Special gets the combo down, and this time with Afflict.
Oh my god, he's just on point with these. Afflict has just been completely unstoppable on this Talia. It's such a beautiful pick for him. Now they're taking the Infernal Drake whilst this replay is going on. I doubt Eminem can contest it.
I don't think they have the numbers to contest it, let alone anything else. In fact, they try to anyway, and they go down because they do not have the numbers to contest it.
Yeah, that's going to be Hades losing his life there. That's going to be the Infernal Drake once more going over to Misfits 2 for them on the count. They have 5,000 gold in an elite.
Build the Magi's and Talia. Do it.
Just do it.
503, you have a 10-stack Dark Seal. Why not?
This has been a perfect game from Afflict. Impressive stuff so far.
I mean, you have to also credit the way they drafted and the way they're playing around. The fact that LeBlanc can chain people up, and then you get the free seismic shove forward. Really nice play from them. And now it's Eminem attempting to counter with the tower, but have to be wary of the fact Braum and Shikari can put down their own set of CC and damage quite quickly.
Yep, certainly can. And there's a mark.
There it is, the Magi's.
Oh.
It is built.
He wants it.
But let's have a look at how they died around the dragon. I think they just went for this kind of desperation steal, knowing they don't want to give away double Infernal.
Yeah, just jump in, look for the smite, and not quite win it. Unfortunately.
It was just a complete 50-50 on the smite fight, though.
Yep.
In fairness to him.
I mean, that's about as good as it's going to get for Eminem at that point, especially if Varel gets away alive. Like you mentioned, Magi's does come through here. That mark once more denied by Misfits on that top lane scuttle in the river, meaning that Hades is continuously not being able to scale up on this Kindred.
Yeah, and when the marks are still arriving in the scuttle, you know it's, I think, less than 4 marks, potentially even lower again. So
we can just click on Hades and find out the mark count.
It has to be lower than, I think, 2 or 3 for it to still be marking scuttle. So a bit rough there for Hades, who has just not had the openings to go into the enemy jungle that you were hoping for.
Oh, and look at that. Igloo gets pushed back and chunked down just a little bit here. Not what you want for Igloo, considering that he needs to be your frontline threat.
Yep. Now you have issues showing for Eminem. They are dealing with a Misfits who have been much stronger. We are saying they should look stronger again with Special. I will argue that they got less solo kills in lane than Leader offered them, but potentially that's just Eminem playing better and certainly getting themselves the counter pick mid. And here they are now, Misfits playing to their draft, playing to their game plan. You got the Gnar split push, and you have very strong cross-map potential with the Talia.
And the double Infernal Baron to spawn in a minute and 50 seconds. Vrao.
Not sure you want to be there.
You don't really have the wave clear against 4. Hades is attempting to clear.
I was expecting Special to go for the quick chain combo there, and then you would have had the free seismic shove. I guess they didn't believe Vrao was in there, and they got kind of surprised by that one. Didn't throw out the chain. And Prosper's back was cancelled by the mini Krugs. They're having a bit of fun now.
Yeah, and that's important, especially when you this far ahead as Misfits Academy. You've had not the season you would have wanted, not quite the perfect run. If you are ahead, then let's have some fun. Shikari, though, now Hades coming forward. Yeah. Here comes that.
Oh, that was a lot of distance to cover.
Never mind.
And out he goes. Yeah, you would have thought that was a free play, but then you remember you're up against Gnar.
Yeah. And there's a wave approaching. Flash is available. Afflict's going to look to steal this away, and he does. Oh my goodness. And that was not even a smite used. Shogun trying to find the engage onto Afflict. Here gets healed on up, but taken on down.
The Magi
huge shutdown. No, that's unfortunate. Oh, you're going to have to sell that Magi's now. I'm
Zero stack Magi's. Afflict. Too far up.
That's such an Afflict thing to do.
Oh, Hades.
Survives just about. Now one's away to safety.
I mean, plays like that, I mean, they're not great, obviously, but they definitely don't change the fact you're very far ahead.
No, of course not. It's just, it is
a sad one.
It is competitive, the competitive curse that if you do pick up a Magi's, then you die very quickly afterwards.
I actually just had a quick check there with some help from Icer. That is in fact a 2-mark Kindred, so you're still seeing those scuttle marks spawn.
Wow.
That is rough.
Very rough. That first mark coming from the, you know, first scuttle of the game, and then potentially a mark off of the mid lane.
Yeah.
Or scuttles. We'll have to see. Either way, another mark available in that Baron pit on the scuttle, but there is no control for Eminem to even push close to it, and Afflict will just remove it from the map as quickly as it spawns.
Yeah, and right now it's just get Baron control from
Is that another
Infernal,
or is that a mountain? It must be a mountain, right?
Who knows?
Who knows?
It doesn't really matter at this point because I believe it is Misfits who want to start pressuring Baron as opposed to Dragon anyway.
I mean, if it's a third Infernal, right, it's pretty scary. Vrao chunked on down once more. Rough times for the mid laner of Eminem. Has been doing all right, like survived. That's not an issue. Only 1, 1, and 2, so hasn't had the issue. Oh my god, Jokerism targeted. Doesn't use the flash, it heals instead.
And it's right back to what we were saying about Chrisberg and Prosper. They've started to step up in their own right as the Misfits roster has improved, and you're definitely seeing that this game. Yeah,
pretty rough stuff. Misfits are winning on every front this game. Pushing in the waves to these inhibitor towers. This is going to be the last tier 2 taken in the mid lane. A wall comes through, doesn't quite catch Hades off guard, but they have broken out all those turrets. Now it only is the base left for Eminem.
Yep, and now we're seeing here that's going to be the dragon we were talking about spawning. Misfits still strong enough that they don't need to fully reset. They can run to that. They still have control over the Baron area. They can likely force that relatively soon. You have the Gwinsus on Kaisa. That Baron goes down very easy.
Is a Mountain Drake going to come through for the Misfits Academy
That'll
here?
Make the Baron easier.
Makes the Baron easier. You're absolutely right. Makes everything easier for Misfits, who've just played so calm and calculated. 8,000 gold in the lead, almost 9 at this stage. 9-4. Afflict with almost the 100% kill participation. I suppose after he lost his Magi's, lost his life, that's where it went wrong.
Yeah, I think that was unfortunate. Right there. It's kind of the whole game has slowed down for them, but now it's special, potentially being caught by Kindred, but should have the mobility to just jump back to tower.
Yeah, I don't think it is.
Yeah.
I think that's Kindred caught with special.
Well, we're about to find out. Here's the play.
Into special we go. Hades chunked on down. Nice use of the Lamb's Respite, but now flashed away.
No!
Hey, look at that. Special. Pretty good at this LeBlanc.
The jump back into the Lamb's Respite. Beautiful. Special. That's what LCS practice does for you, and in the meantime, it's going to be the Baron started up for Misfits. The jungler is down from Eminem after that play. This should be free.
Yeah, this is going to be rough. Here comes the Baron, easily secured there by Afflict. Didn't let it go low enough. Vrao now running for his life over the wall, but Chrisberg, he has the damage. Shogun now in trouble, potentially as well, if Chrisberg can land. But it doesn't look like they're going to dive that AD carry in.
Push into the top side, though. They already have the wave pushing up with Gnar.
Look at where Igloo is. Doesn't want to be there anymore. Has to go back to base. Has the no teleport. He's taking Krugs. This is going to be a base push. Not time for replays just yet. Misfit are going on in. It's Shikari locking down Hades. That's the turret down. Inhibitor to follow very shortly for Misfits. And Eminem, they just look completely broken. Misfits, can they go further is the question, or do they fall back? Yep, it's calm, calculated, a wave in mid to push.
Yeah, they can either reset here. They have a lot of gold to spend. In fact, they got a whole 2 Magi stacks onto Talia too. And they managed to...
A whole 2!
A whole 2 of that set of plays. Let's have a quick look. I want to watch the outplay again. That's how this whole set of plays started. It's all about the jump back, though, after this. You get the full combo off with the chain, and Special waits, jumps back into the Lamb's Respite as Hades flashes forward to see if he can secure the kill on the clone.
Disgusting.
Outplayed.
Outplayed indeed. Welcome back to the UK Special. It's good to see you again. M&M Gaming, they do not have much left in this game to talk about other than how do they adapt to this dominance that Misfits have shown from the jungle, from the mid lane, from the bot lane, from the top lane. It's winning lane matchups everywhere, and it's Hades on the back end of a backslap.
That was Special's flash. He just flashed over the wall and I just used my spells. Damn. And then just walked off. But it doesn't matter at this stage. Misfits still in a dominating area. They should be able to push the waves up. They're just going to use the Gnar as well in the split to push up all 3 waves now. It is the chokehold onto M&M.
Oh, that wall as well. Just splits them off from running away. They may be forced to fight if they're not careful. Crossfair with the Glacial Fissure up and ready. Vrow, half health, Wild Growth used. Heal comes through, and Shikari with the ultimate locks Vrow down. Igloo on the front line, almost dead, does go down. Shogun should go down as well, you feel. Double kill for this AD carry. Looking for more. It's Jokerism dead for the quadra kill for this Chrisberg Kaiser. Misfits are dominant. They are taking game 1, and they made it look simple.
And it was so clean from the 25-minute game. Exactly what you expect from a team of this caliber. This is exactly the kind of strategic play we were calling out on the desk, and it's what you see there. Once they get a lead, they know how to aggress with it. They control the Baron area. They get kills all over it. As soon as the jungler goes down, we're forced this Baron. We have the damage for it. End the game with the push.
So we talked about the idea that mid and top would win out naturally, and that would give the advantage to Talia in the matchup. She'd be able to take control of the jungle. Oh, she used that jungle control to gank bot lane and make sure she had 3 winning lanes, taking Kindred out of the game entirely. And you saw at that point really struggling to pick up marks. Like we mentioned, only 2 marks, I believe, at the end of that game, as she had the mark on Gnar, didn't get the kill on him. So it's just massively taking him out of the game entirely. And Afflict playing really strongly, even when he buys that Magi, he goes as far as to get it and then go down to 0 stacks. It didn't matter. He had that much of an advantage. He was that far ahead that it was actually not even a wasted item at all.
I mean, let's have a look at the damage chart coming through from this game. And you can see, of course, Chrisberg and Special topping it out each. Not even close to being contested by the M&M roster. I think between those 3 damage killers, pretty much equal. I mean, overboard.
What's most impressive there is that LeBlanc is challenging a Kai'Sa on the board.
Oh yeah.
That is a lot of burst damage, a lot of consistent burst damage. You could see Special was finding picks all over the map. And yes, while he wasn't securing the kills, he was forcing them out of off the map.
You got to say as well, the Kindred actually putting up that much damage is surprising even when she was pinned down that much. But after the early game, Talia basically played PvE, just denied as many resources as possible. And then that allowed them to sit comfortably in the game where she knew the rest of her damage dealers were safe. She could just set up picks with the seismic shoves into the Unraveled Earth, and it was that much easier to just get these plays going and start the team rolling through the objectives. And, well, Misfits, they looked a lot cleaner than some of the other teams we've seen thus far.
Yes, 100%, and that's what we've seen from Misfits in Forge of Champions 4.
Yeah.
And they're still on the upward trend we were hoping to see from them. Special continues that as well. While it's maybe not quite as flashy as leader in some of the cases, you still have enough flashy outplays to carry a team.
And besides of course, Enclave, who, as we mentioned, had reasons for the poor earlier performances, the other teams seem to be on downward trends. That seems to be where we're heading if all seems to stick together. It's going to be that, I'd say Misfits versus Enclave are the favorites right now. Yeah,
you definitely think so. I mean, if you look at Misfits' recent performances here in the Forge of Champions, they 2-0 Diabolus, they 2-1 XL, they 3-1 Enclave. That's the top 2 teams that they're facing out against. It's Diabolus, of course, who've made it to the quarterfinals, so semifinals, so showing they're a top 4 team, at least here in the playoffs as well. That just shows that Misfits Academy quite possibly could be the favorites to win this playoff stage.
They're definitely my favorites.
I would say
they were coming from Forge of Champions 4. When leader fell, I was like wondering, depending who they replaced him with, that could be different. But when it was Special, I expect it once more to be a very dominant Misfits. However, still have other teams to face off. And M&M still with the potential upset, but unlikely.
I wasn't as sure. I needed to see at least one game. I needed to see how Special meshed into the roster and how well Afflict played around it. And I gotta say, I was well impressed. And Special, especially with that outplay on the LeBlanc.
That was nice.
He wasn't really doing all that much other than controlling his lane and enabling these plays to be set up by having the lane advantage. But he still showed that he has the mechanical prowess to make things happen when he needs to.
And what I'd like to point out was he was controlling the lane in a lane where he was specifically set up to be countered.
Be countered, exactly. So he didn't really have the 1v1 assassination potential that you would have on some other picks. So the LeBlanc would have struggled in that matchup had she kept it there, but is able to roam around the map and set up things because of the lane advantage she was able to create on her own.
And I mean, M&M, they looked like they were lost for sorts, with Rao playing a supportive role and Jokerism not be able to capitalize off some early kills for him. It was a Misfits Academy victory in game 1. We'll have to see if they can continue that dominance heading into the second game, or if the M&M roster are able to change things around. Either way, they've got a little bit of time to figure it out, and we've got a break coming up, so stick with us. We'll find out who is heading into the semifinals right after this.